Hello everyone. I decided very spontaneously to jump online before giving a treatment here at the moment. I'm at the little yoga space, therapy space. It's all set up already for my client who's coming in a short while. I've been having these various conversations with people, colleagues, friends, and I've been thinking about it myself a lot as well, about self-care. And everyone is saying, including myself, we definitely need to do a lot more self-care. And for whatever reason, we don't do it enough. And we spend very little time on our self-care. And there is something that seems to be standing in a way, that seems to be making it really difficult. And the funny thing is, everybody I talk to and have this conversation, it kind of like goes the same way. We're all going, yeah, but why is it so difficult to make that time to do more of a self-care practice? What is it? It seems ridiculous almost. So, that's definitely been going on a lot in conversations in front of my mind the last couple of weeks or so. So I had a bit of an idea for myself, and I wanted to share that. But before I do, what does it actually mean, self-care? So there's quite a lot of factors involved in that. We need to actually make the time for ourselves. We need to make the time and show up for whatever healing work needs to take place. And because self-care is really about that, I think, creating that space for whatever level of healing needs to take place. And it seems to require a certain discipline. So that is not a very nice word. So I'm wondering whether, maybe we need to look at it as finding a way to build this into our routine so it becomes second nature. It needs to be something actually meaningful, because I think a lot of the time we also sort of kid ourselves a little bit and so, I took 3 hours off this afternoon and I had a piece of cake and hot chocolate. Yes, that is a level of self-care, and that level of self-care is also really important. But I don't think it's that level of self-care that is really going to cut it, if I'm honest. I think, we need to really look at what is it that would actually be meaningful? What is it that would really make that difference? Is it meditating every day for 15 minutes? Or is it having a massage every 2 weeks? Is it making it to yoga class? What is it? Going for a 30-minute walk every day? Changing my diet? Whatever. Do you see what I mean by, I think we need to really look at it and understand what is really going to make that difference, that, what is it that we really right now, where we're at right now, need. So it's meaningful self-care, and self-care that is going to make a difference, and because it's going to make a difference, will also be much more easy to continue, because we'll feel the benefit and will be much more likely to be making it into our routine. So it becomes sustainable. So it needs to be something that is sustainable. And that has a number of different aspects too, which I'll actually come and talk about in a moment. And so, what is it that the body needs? Listen to the body, but really listen to the body. it's kind of become a bit of a saying, and therefore a little bit of a throwaway sentence. I hear people say so much like, oh, I just really needed to listen to my body and not go to that thing, or I didn't do that, or I took a day off and I took myself out into nature because I just really needed to listen to my body. And I sometimes have the feeling that I'm not sure how much listening was really done, or whether it's just this sort of sentence that's become a little bit sort of overused, because it's like they took this one walk and then went back to normal. And I'm not sure that that is really what the body would have said. Maybe. I'm not maybe, possibly. But, if the body is actually talking to you quite loud for you to take notice, it probably wants a bit more. And it probably actually wants you to sit and really listen to that level that we know can even be a little bit uncomfortable because we have to look at stuff. So that is a key ingredient in my mind to figuring out our self-care practice, to really figure out what it means to properly listen to our own body and its needs. And so why does this matter? And this is an exercise that you could even do. Maybe it's helpful, I don't know. So, first question is, so how does that make you feel when you do self-care? I mean, we've all done something in our lives that would go into that category. It could have been literally going on holiday or something, I don't know, really taking some meaningful time off or whatever it is. So when I do my self-care practice, it makes me feel like this. And let's just say something I might say, it kind of makes me feel a bit more whole. When people walk out of a treatment with me and they would say that, I haven't felt so like my whole body for so long, then I'm like, yes, that's a good feeling. When they walk out of yoga class and then have that kind of feeling. So let's just go with that as an example. And so that would be the second question that you ask. When I feel whole, when I feel that way, I ... And go ahead and complete that sentence with 10, 15, 20 different things. And so it could be, I don't feel my back pain, I sleep much better, I enjoy my chores a lot more, I make much clearer decisions, I find myself less stressed, less argumentative, less, whatever. So fill it with real, like, what does that actually do? What is the difference it makes? And so there is your answer. That is why this matters. And it really matters a lot because it's about the quality of your life. It's about your family. It's also about your work, the way that you're able to do your work. Those of you who are therapists, teachers, as an example, I can't be any good to anyone and help anyone and support anyone if I'm not well enough. So it really matters. And somehow, of course, it sort of seems to be easier to ignore it because we do have a certain amount of resource available that keeps us going. We have this reserve tank that we keep drawing from, but it will be empty at some point. That is fact. We need to keep filling it up. It's kind of like this, one of my teachers always used to say, it's like you have to make your daily deposit into this kind of universal bank account that we all have, because it needs to be full and plentiful so that you can make a withdrawal from it whenever you need to. And also, you need to be able to make a withdrawal from it without having to worry that your credit will go too low. It's really important. And the other trap that I feel like we sometimes fall into, one is that we just seem to think that this reserve tank keeps replenishing itself by itself for some reason. And the other thing is that sometimes we fall into this kind of place of, well, that's just kind of how life is now, and we just have to get on with it. It's how it is, it's the way it is now. And we just have to cope, we have to make the best of things, we have to push through or something like this. And it's not true. Our bodies are designed to heal, and we can always create better conditions. And therefore, I'm not saying everything can be resolved quickly or at any point, but there is always a way to improve the conditions and the situations. There always is. And so to kind of stay in this place like, oh, well, that it's just how it is, and we're just going to have to live with it and put up with it and push through, we'll manage. Yeah. Ugh. That just makes my skin crawl. So I had this kind of idea because, I do have a self-care practice, and also I don't think I do enough of it. Hand up, definitely don't. And there's definitely a few things that I found quite challenging also during the pandemic, but irrespective of that, I can't just blame the pandemic for everything. Some things that have sort of started to show up in my body also, I'm feeling like, no, that's not okay. It's not okay. And so how am I going to improve my self-care practice? And I had this idea that, there's a new year coming soon, and we all do these New Year's resolutions, which we all know, often quite meaningless. But why not actually make it count? So let's just say we make a really good plan for next year. Now, that means we shouldn't start planning on the 1st of January. We should start planning right now. Because, maybe we are really, really, really busy in the lead up to Christmas, over Christmas, between the holidays, I don't know. And so it might be a little bit difficult. See if you can make some time. But maybe some of us take some time off during this time, or things are slowing down. So we might actually have a little bit more luxury of time right now. So this is, right now, it starts to make the plan, to make it real. And so first step is, like I kind of already said, let's inquire, really sit, take some time and sit with what is it that you really, really need that would really make that difference. So it could be that you really feel like you need to start exercising. You need to do something to deal with your stress. You need to have a little bit like better maintenance, like have regular acupuncture, or you realize that your diet has gone a bit out of the window and you need to have a really good detox or cut back on the sugar, or really go and identify the things that you know are going to be meaningful. Take that step first, and then how can you make that happen? And we've already proven to ourselves that it's difficult to put this in place, right? Because all of our lives we found it difficult for some reason to stick to our self-care practice. And so that point proven, go and look at it more critically. Because you just have to look at your own habits and your own ways. And you don't have to tell anyone about it. You can keep it a secret. It doesn't really matter. So what is it in your habits that stop you from really doing it properly and regularly in a sustainable way? And what do you need to do to make it happen? So one could be that it needs to be scheduled in your diary. Otherwise, it ain't going to happen. That's something, for example, for me that I think would find really helpful, to actually mark that time in my diary so I don't compromise on it. There's no appointments coming into that. I'm not going to take any clients before that time in the morning or whatever it might be, so that I will have the time for 15 minutes of self-care in the morning, or whatever it might be. But schedule that time. Maybe that could be something that you do. And you could, whatever you use as a diary, I hope you've already got one for 2022, start writing it in. Literally, physically, pen and paper or on your phone, whatever you use. Go ahead and do your research now. Why not already? Because it takes some time, right? So let's say I really need to get back to yoga. I don't know, maybe you always used to have a yoga practice and somehow you stopped, or I don't know, you've never done it before. Let's say I want to do yoga once a week. It takes some time to really find the right class. And so spend the time on the research now. Why not check out some of the teachers, look around, who's local, who's doing what kind of style of yoga. Find your class now, and maybe they have like a new term starting in January, and sign up. Sign up now. Maybe it's like, okay, actually it would be really good. So something that I let go of was a monthly craniosacral session. I'd always have that as my maintenance, but then pandemic, stress, this, that, blah, blah, plus my therapist actually moved out of Lisbon. So circumstances sometimes change. I get it. But I didn't go ahead and find somebody else. I just let that go. And I'm like, okay, so that's definitely something I'm going to do again. A regular session of something receiving. And I'm going to go ahead and book that with that person now. Maybe they have like a package deal. Maybe, whatever, maybe not, but, make sure you get into their busy schedule, because they might also be really busy. They might be booked up. I don't know. So, from January, every first Tuesday at 3:00, can you fit me in? Or every week, or whatever it is that you decide to do. Book your sessions. Now, like I already mentioned, circumstances can be challenging. So it might also require to have a look at, where am I going to get the money from to do this? Because maybe one of the reasons we don't do as much self-care is because, we're struggling for cash. So what is it in my life that I could save money on? Can I sell something? Can I unsubscribe from stuff that I subscribed to 5 years ago and never ever looked at? Do I need to go and buy a takeaway coffee every morning? What is it that I could get rid of and save some money? So I'm making the money for my self-care practice, if it takes money. If you're really struggling, then okay, so what are the free resources that I can do? What are the practices that I know for a fact I can do at home? So practicing at home, sitting for 15 minutes every morning and meditate and start the day that way, doesn't cost a single penny. Done. So, balance that out. So maybe you want to treat yourself to one thing however often that you're going to find the money for, but the rest of it is your home practice. Do you need to have this accountability that you would get going to a class? So can you find a buddy? Can you find somebody to do it with? Can you find a friend who you send a regular message to once a week, once a whatever, every day, to remind each other, have you done it yet? Or maybe you even get together and do it together. Meet up for that 2-hour walk that you're going to start every Saturday afternoon with somebody. So find a friend, find your way to be accountable for it. Because we need to find a way for it to stay sustainable. And all of these factors matter, right? And then another thing that we can do already right now is a bit of decluttering. What is weighing you down? What's in the way? It could be that, I can't do any practice at home because I haven't really got a nice place to do my meditation. Okay, well, create one. Is there something that's bugging you in, I don't know, like this mess in this room, in this corner, and it's just weighing you down? And it's this, just one thing that I could get rid of. stuff that needs resolving, stuff that needs closing down, that needs finishing up, that is lingering and you know is draining you of energy. So getting rid of that stuff, that's already a huge step towards your self-care practice. Get rid of everything that you know is not really supporting you right now. It could be a commitment that you made and you know you're struggling to fulfill it. Like you're on 10 committees for some crazy reason and you know that is too much. Get rid of half of them. It's important. So it could be all that sort of stuff. Declutter on a serious level if you want your kind of New Year's resolution to stand a chance to even get going. We need to create the space for it. And so that work needs to happen now. And so, yeah, that was kind of like the idea, my plan, that I suddenly was like, okay, so everybody seems to be thinking the same. I seem to be thinking the same. It seems tough for some reason to do my self-care practice the way I really want it and the way it would be really meaningful. So I'm going to get started now. Between now and the end of December, I know I'm going to have some time off. I can take care of these things. I can organize some of these things. I can declutter. I can, all of those things that I just suggested. So I'm going to have a really good start for the new year. And that also kind of slightly on the other side, those of you who are maybe teachers and therapists, you probably know that, well, this is going on for you, possibly, and maybe you also notice this in your environment and your clients as well. So there could even be an idea of creating some kind of package to get people started, some kind of, support, some offering through the month of January or through the whole year, I don't know, to support people in that process as well. So, are you making it more accessible for people to maybe have that package deal with you for a regular maintenance session, as an example? Are you giving away some free recordings of meditation so people can do their practice at home for free? Are you, etc., etc. So on that note, I would always really, 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 really love to hear from you if there's something that I could be offering maybe in January or in general, with all of that in mind. Is there something that you, I shouldn't do that, that you would like to see happening? That could have gone horribly wrong with the whole thing. I just sort of toppled over. Comment below the video, let me know, get in touch with me, you know how to reach me, and let me know what you would find really helpful, and if there is something that I could be offering to support you in that. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I think my client is coming very soon, so I better get ready and all set up for the treatment. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Take care.